It's amazing, like when you have good digestion, that can affect your whole day. When I was maybe around like 12 or 13 years old, I started to notice I had a lot of gastrointestinal problems. I was feeling, at that age, I was feeling just really gassy and bloaty, and I couldn't really figure out why. I feel like I wasn't digesting my food properly. Felt like everything was just sitting in my stomach, and it was just sitting there, and it feels gross, right? When you feel like nothing is really moving. And I did experience some constipation as well after going to the doctors and all that. And I just wasn't getting the answers. I wasn't feeling better, and I didn't want to go on medication for something that I felt I didn't really need to. It's interesting because we grew up very holistically. So intuitively, I kind of felt I just needed to make some dietary changes. I always felt like the healing was in nature and food, and more like that holistic approach, even from early on. That was around the time when, there's a lot more information coming out about gut health and things like that. And I just started doing some research and going to the health food store in my neighborhood and reading just some articles in the health magazines. And there was an article that was all about kind of removing like dairy from your diet and gluten from the diet. And so I'm like, well, let me try that. So I went and I told my parents, because of course they were doing all the shopping at that time. I said, I don't want to drink milk for a week, and I just want to see how I feel. And so after I gave up milk, I started to feel a little bit better. So immediately I noticed. Fast forwarding a little bit later to about like 15, 16 years old, is I started to notice when I was eating like my sandwiches at school, I'm not feeling too good. Maybe I should stop eating bread. And because I remember that came up in the article that I'd read. And so I gave up eating white bread. And again, I started to feel a lot better. I started to have regular bowel movements again, and healthier bowel movements. I was going to the washroom a little bit more, and my skin started to clear up. Giving up the foods made me feel so good that it was totally worth it, right? Because I hated feeling like bunged down. I hated feeling like there was a rock in my stomach. I hated feeling like my digestive system was bringing me down. I felt like it was really weighing on me, almost like, I guess, like bringing down my energy at that time. It's amazing, like when you have good digestion, that can affect your whole day, right? Just healthy bowel movements and being able to have good digestion, not feeling like gassed up all day. I've continued some of those things. So, I'm dairy free, gluten free as well. Obviously the odd occasion, summertime, you're at a beach and you have an ice cream. But the thing is that, like, when you give up some of those foods for a certain period of time, it doesn't bother me anymore. I felt, I guess at the time, really empowered by taking some of those foods out. And I'm like, okay, so the answer is in obviously what I'm eating, right? And, it definitely has an impact on how I feel on a day-to-day basis. One of the things, I really like to coach my clients on to empower them and to get started on taking a little bit more control of their health is really to listen to yourselves. Because one of the things I get with a lot of my clients is like, oh, I know it, or I knew it, or I could feel something. I'm like, okay, that's your gut instinct. That's your gut instinct telling you that there's something there. So it's, first of all, trusting these little signs and these symptoms that our bodies are telling us. And I would say too, start keeping a log of all these things in your health that are changing or how you're feeling. And if you can keep a food log in terms of like how you're feeling that day, what you're eating, and how it made you feel, you'll start to get an idea of that connection of what it is in your day, whether it is food or whether it's something at work or there's another stressor in your life, or it's something that you put on your body, or it's an allergic reaction or whatever it is. But you're going to start to get a better control if you start paying attention. I would say trust yourself. That is one of the most important things, as You know, we're getting older, and as you know, our lives are changing and our health is changing, is like really listening to your body and paying attention, right? Really paying attention. I think that's so, so key. Something that I've been obsessed with recently, I know this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but just watching these really insane, like adventure kind of edge-seeking people that are like jumping off of cliffs, jumping off of mountains, just doing really crazy things in nature that I would never do, because I'm like, how do you do this? My favorite time of day is sunset. Oh my goodness. There is something so magical about sunsets to me, whether it's the colors. I feel like there's like this relaxing Zen vibe. The colors just soothe my soul. It just warms my soul and it makes me so happy. And there's something about being grateful for the day at sunset. And if I can see a sunset on water, that's even better. If I was a potato, I would like to be roasted. Roasted because I feel like I'd be facing the sun or something hot, and that makes me feel good inside. And you can put some dressings on me and sizzle it up and spice it up. Like almost every second day, my mother would bake me and my brother like fresh cake. So when we got home from school, there was like basically like fresh cake with some fruit and a tea waiting for us every day from school. And I have a very fond memory of that because, I mean, I love cake, but my mom's cakes were so delicious. And I think it was like that comfort of you're going home to something like nourishing and comforting, and everything was always baked from scratch. And you know, one of the cakes I really loved was like her lemon sponge cake that she would make for me. So, you know, or like one of the walnut cakes she would make for us. So those are like kind of, I would say, something that has just like such a fond memory for me, because I always remember going home and having my cup of tea with my mom's freshly baked cake. I loved it. So in my smoothie, I have an avocado. I actually have the multi-mix, 1 scoop of the multi-mix. I have 1 cup of frozen raspberries, half a cup of blueberries, about half a cup of filtered water, 1 tablespoon of hemp seeds, and 1 scoop of vanilla protein powder. It's so good. You know, I have to have a smoothie in my day.